So, welcome again. In this session, we will consider with regard to sections 25, 26, and 27 of the Limitation Act regarding the acquisition and extinguishment of proprietary rights. First, we will see the acquisition of easement by prescription. So, what is an easement? Section 4 of the Easement Act. Section 4 of the Easements Act provides that easement is a right which the owner or occupier of certain land possesses as such for the beneficial enjoyment of that land to do or continue to do or continue to do something, or to prevent and continue to prevent something being done in or upon or in respect of certain other land, not his own. So, easement is a right which the owner or occupier of certain land possesses as such, being the owner of that land. So, two land, two property, say one belonging to X and the other belonging to Y. Property of X is lying adjacent to a public road, and it's behind that property the property of Y is situated. So, Y do not have an access to his property because there is no any public road attached to his land. So, for his ingress and egress to his property, Mr. Y will have to use, or Mr. Y is using, he will have to use when, but Mr. Y is using the property of Mr. X. So, he is entering his property or he is exiting from his property through the property of Mr. X. So, he is having certain rights for the beneficial enjoyment of the property of Y. Only if he is having, if he could ingress and egress to his property, Mr. Y can have a proper enjoyment of his property. So, for that purpose, he is using the property of X also. So, he is using the property of Mr. X for the beneficial enjoyment of the property of Mr. Y. So, we will call the property of Mr. Y as a dominant heritage, and the property of Mr. X, which is having access to the public road, we will call it as a servient heritage. So, for the purpose of enjoyment of the dominant heritage, Mr. Y is using his right to way through the servient heritage. So, he is using it as a way to ingress and egress to his property. So, here we say that Mr. Y is having an easementary right over the property of Mr. X. That is what is provided under section 4 of the Easements Act. Now, coming to the Limitation Act, section 2F of the Limitation Act. Section 2F of the Limitation Act provides that easement includes a right not arising from contract. Easement includes a right not arising from a contract by which one person is entitled to remove and appropriate for his own profit any part of the soil belonging to another, any part of the soil belonging to another, or anything growing in or attached to or subsisting upon the land of another. So, going through section 2F of the Limitation Act, Mr. Y, he is entitled, entitled to remove a certain portion for his enjoyment of his dominant heritage, the property of Mr. Y. And coming to section 25 of the Limitation Act. Section 25 of the Limitation Act. Section 25 of the Limitation Act, it is concerned with the acquisition of easement. How Mr. Y can acquire easement over the property of Mr. X. How this easementary right of way would be acquired by Mr. Y over the property of Mr. X, which is the servient heritage. So we will see what section 25 provides with that. Section 25 does not provide with the extent of the right, etc. that is dealt with under the Easements Act. It is only providing with regard to the accrual of easement right on that person. A term as of right. The term there is a term which has been used as of right. To come to that, a right not arising from the contract by which one person is entitled to remove and apportionate his own contract by which one person is entitled to remove and appropriate for his own profit any part of the soil belonging to another or anything growing in or attached to or subsisting upon the land of another. So it's a matter which is being exercised as of right, because Mr. Y does not have any other pathway. For the proper enjoyment of the property, he will have to use it as of his right. So it's a very important element while claiming a right of easement is that it should be used as of right. So the term as of right would signify that the person is using the servient heritage by exercising or asserting his right over that property. And so itself, if the property is being used with the consent of the servient owner, it would not amount to easement by prescription. So it should be used as of right, and it shall not be used with the consent of the person. If it is used with the consent of the person, if there is an agreement in writing that I am permitting you to use my property for ingress and egress to your property, we cannot say that Mr. Y is using the property of Mr. X as of right, and then it will not amount to easement by prescription. So if there is generally if there is a private right being exercised over a public land, then that will also not amount to an easement by prescription. For example, the draining of water according to the lie and nature of the land, നമ്മുടെ വെള്ളം ഒഴുകി പോകാനുള്ള ഒരു സാഹചര്യം, whether that will amount to, or whether that will be attracted under section 25. In Rachaya Pandey versus Shiodhare Pandey, the Patna High Court in year 1963, Patna 76, the Patna High Court has held that the right to drain of rainwater according to the lie of the land in a natural way would not attract section 25. അപ്പോൾ സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ ഒരു പ്രതലത്തിൽ എങ്ങനെ കിടക്കുന്നു അതിലെ വെള്ളം ഒഴുകി പോകുന്നതാണെങ്കിൽ സെക്ഷൻ 25 ഇസ് നോട്ട് ആപ്ലിക്കബിൾ. പക്ഷേ ഒരു വാട്ടർ ചാനൽ നിർമ്മിച്ച് അതിലെ വെള്ളം ഒഴുക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് പോയാൽ section 25 could be invoked. And this right, exercising as of right, that should be enjoyed peaceably. Yet another term which is very important is that it should be enjoyed peaceably. The expression peaceably, it means that the plaintiff who claims to be the owner of the dominant heritage, that is in this case Mr. Y, he has neither been obliged to resort to any physical force. Exumai atigudiyalla. He is exercising it peaceably without any quarrel with the owner of the servient heritage. And he should be exercising that right for a period of 20 years, which is expiring within the 2 years of the suit. No had he been prevented by use of a physical force, etc. So it should be enjoyed openly, it should be enjoyed peaceably. As of a right, it should be enjoyed peaceably and it should be enjoyed openly also. The right should be enjoyed openly also. What does the term openly means? Openly means that the enjoyment from the very beginning should be very visible and manifest and not secret. രഹസ്യമായിട്ടായിരിക്കരുത് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്, വളരെ പരസ്യമായി. അപ്പോൾ വൈ ഒളിച്ച് വന്ന് ഹൈഡ് ചെയ്ത് പതുക്കെ പതുക്കെ എക്സിൻ്റെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയുടെ കടന്നു പോകരുത്. പബ്ലിക് റോഡിലൂടെ വരുന്നു, ആ വരുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ ഹീ ഈസ് എൻറ്ററിങ് ഇൻ ടു ദിസ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ത്രൂ ദി പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ഓഫ് മിസ്റ്റർ എക്സ്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഓപ്പൺ ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഷാൽ നോട്ട് ബി സീക്രട്ട്. ആൻഡ് if that has been used openly for a period of 20 years, we'll say that he will be having a right of easement by prescription. So as I told you, the expression as of right, that will indicate that the person was claiming the right. He has exercised as if he had been the true owner of that property itself. ആ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയുടെ ട്രൂ ഓണറാണെന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ തന്നെ വേണം അത് ഉപയോഗിച്ച് പോകാൻ. സംശയിച്ച അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നേരത്തെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അനുവാദത്തോടെയൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിച്ചാൽ he is not using the property as of right. For example, so it should be exercised without a permission or without a license from the owner of the servient heritage. So in order to perfect the right of easement, in order to perfect the mere usage of the property for a period of 20 years, that will not confer or that will not make the right perfect, the right of easement perfect. In order to make the right perfect, there should be a declaration of easement by an appropriate court. So the right of easement will become perfect only when there is a declaration of easement by the court. In Sita Kanta versus Radha Govinda, year 1973, Allahabad 462. Sorry, so citation, I think there is some difference in the citation of that case. In Sita Kanta versus Radha Govinda, the court has observed that a title to easement is not complete merely upon the passage of 20 years. How long he may be enjoying the property, how long the owner of the the dominant heritage, in our case Mr. Y, may be enjoying the property, the right would be perfected. The right would be perfected only when there is a declaration by the court. For obtaining a declaration by the court, the issue must be brought before the court. It should be brought before the court by way of certain suit. And until it is so brought, the right is only an inchoate right. It will not be a perfect right. Only when a declaration from the court arises, the right would become perfect. Otherwise, he would continue to exercise the right of easement. It would be perfected only by way of declaration of a court. In Anusundar versus Shivanarayan Jaiswal, the Patna High Court has observed that in a suit for removal of obstruction of easement right, the limitation is 2 years from the date of obstruction. So if I have been using a pathway as a matter of right, as a matter of easement, continuously for many years, but at a particular point of time, the owner of the servient heritage blocked my passage. I remained silent for 3 years. So So the period of limitation would have elapsed, and the court has observed that in a suit for removal of the obstruction. So if Mr. X has obstructed Mr. Y, Mr. Y will have to approach the court within a period of 2 years from the date on which such obstruction was made. So with regard to an obstruction of easement right, the suit will have to be filed within a period of 2 years from the date of obstruction. Otherwise, the suit will be barred by limitation. And a claim for a prospective right would be defeated also in such a case. And the court has observed that a plain reading of Section 25 of the Limitation Act shows that the suit ought to be filed within 2 years next from the date of the obstruction or discontinuance of the right, which is claimed as an easementary right, and the suit having not been filed within that period prescribed by Clause 2 of Section 25 of the Limitation Act, it stands defeated and the suit must be held to be barred by the law of limitation. So if Mr. Y was using the property of Mr. X for a period of 25 years, and after a period of 25 years, Mr. X is obstructing the usage of that property, Mr. Y will have to file a suit within a period of 2 years from the date of obstruction, and if he has not filed a suit within that period of 2 years, it will be barred by the limitation and he will not be allowed to file a suit, and so itself he will not get his right perfected. And Section 26 of the Act provides with an exclusion in favor of a reversion of a servient heritage. For example, if the person who is holding the servient heritage, is holding it as a life interest, that means he does not have an absolute interest over that property, but he is only his right is liable to be reverted back to another person if it is exceeding 3 years from the granting thereof. And Section 26 of the Act provides that with regard where a servient heritage is held under or by virtue of an interest for life or in terms of years exceeding 3 years, ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 3 വർഷത്തിലധികമായിട്ടോ ആ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ഹോൾഡ് ചെയ്യുകയാണ് എങ്കിൽ the time of the enjoyment of such easement during the continuance of such interest, അതായത് ഈ ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ 3 വർഷത്തിലധികം അനുഭവിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ള സമയം, or that term shall be excluded in computing the period of limitation. അപ്പോൾ ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിലുള്ള പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 3 വർഷത്തിലധികം ഇത് റൈറ്റ് വേറെ ആൾക്കും കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയാണ് എങ്കിൽ ലിമിറ്റേഷൻ കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഈ ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിൻ്റെ പീരീഡും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ 3 വർഷത്തിലധികം എത്ര കാലത്തേക്ക് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് പീരീഡ് വിൽ ഹാവ് ടു ബി എക്സ്ക്ലൂഡഡ്. And this will be applicable only if the claim is made within 3 years after the determination of such life interest or the interest which has been provided for more than 3 years. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ 3 വർഷത്തിലധികം സമയം ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ള ആ കാലമോ കഴിഞ്ഞ് 3 വർഷത്തിനകം സ്യൂട്ട് ഫയൽ ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രമേ ദിസ് റെമഡി വിൽ ബി ദിസ് ലിമിറ്റേഷൻ ദ എക്സ്ക്ലൂഷൻ ഓഫ് ലിമിറ്റേഷൻ ദാറ്റ് വിൽ ബി അവൈലബിൾ. And that can be illustrated by way of an illustration which was appended to the Limitation Act 1908. The Limitation Act 1908, in the corresponding provision, Section 27, the provision corresponding to the present 26, Section 26, it had provided with an illustration which will be helpful for us also. And accordingly, the illustration is that A is suing for a declaration that he is entitled to a right of way over the land of B. അപ്പോൾ Y ഒരു നമ്മുടെ കേസിലാണെങ്കിൽ Y is filing a suit for a declaration to get his right perfected, stating that he wanted declaration with regard to the right of way over the land of Mr. X. And Y proves that he has enjoyed the right for 25 years. 25 വർഷമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഈ വഴി ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. But B comes up with a claim In his defense, what B says is that during 10 years out of this 25 years, during 10 years out of this 25 years, സി ഹു വാസ് എ ഹിന്ദു വിഡോ, ആ കാലത്ത് ഹിന്ദു വിഡോയ്ക്ക് ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ള പീരീഡ് ആയിരുന്നു. ബിഫോർ ദി കമ്മിങ് ഇൻ ടു ഫോഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഹിന്ദു സക്സഷൻ ആക്ട്, ദ ഹിന്ദു widow had only a life interest over the property. So there is a life interest for that Hindu widow on the land, and only upon the death of C, who is the widow, Mr. X became entitled to the land. So ഒരാൾക്ക് ലൈഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ളപ്പോൾ she was exercising, C was exercising, and now X says that only after her death I have accrued a right over the land. And this suit within 2 years after C's death, I am contesting the claim of Mr. Mr. Y. X says that I am contesting the claim of Mr. Y within a period of 2 years after the death of Mrs. C, who had a life interest over the property. In such cases, the illustration says that the suit must be dismissed. Why? Having reference to the provisions of section 26, because this person who is now having the right has not enjoyed the property. With regard to that particular person, Y has not enjoyed it as of a right against for a period of 25 years. So this is the issue when there is a scope of reversion of the right in favor of a person from a person who is having a life interest over the property. Now coming to section 27. Section 27 is dealing with extinguishment of right to property. You would have studied in your jurisprudence class with regard to adverse possession. Now coming to section 27 of the Limitation Act. Section 27 provides with a principle that the person who is having a right of possession will have to, or his right will be barred by the law, section 27 of the law of limitation, section 27 of the Limitation Act. If it will be barred under section 27. What's that period? What's that period? As you have studied in your jurisprudence class, the person having a right of possession would suffer his right to the property if it is barred by the law of limitation. The period of limitation is 12 years. So if a person who is having or who is claiming possession of the property, if he is not making his claim for a possession of property within the period of 12 years, what would happen is that he will lose. So if a person has been adversely in possession of the property for a period of 12 years, the true owner of the property will lose his right to claim that property again. So section 27, it can be said to be an exception to the general principle of the law that limitation only bars the remedy, but it will not extinguish the right itself. So section 27 is the peculiar feature of section 27 is that section 27 would extinguish the right of the true owner of the property if a person continues to be in adverse possession for a period of 12 years. And in Unity Company Private Limited versus Diamond Sugar Mills, Unity Company Private Limited versus Diamond Sugar Mills, AIR 1970 Calcutta 18, AIR 1970 Calcutta 18, it was held that this section 27 is equally applicable for movable property as well as immovable property, for which the right has to be exercised within the period of limitation which is prescribed under the articles of the Limitation Act. So if that right is not exercised within the period of limitation provided under the articles of the Limitation Act, the person will lose his remedy to repossess the property. Then assume for a moment a person is holding the property for a period of 12 years. So he has an adverse possession over the property also. Then if he is trying to re-enter his property, what will be the presumption? Whether he will be based upon a title, his right will be lost. If he has not re-entered his property within a period of 12 years, his right will be lost by way of adverse possession. So a party claiming possession, before that one more case law is there. Fakirappa versus Ningappa. Fakirappa versus Ningappa, year 1949, Bombay, 266. In this case, it was held that under Section 27 of the Limitation Act, the right itself is extinguished. The right itself is extinguished. 12 years of adverse possession of land by a wrongdoer, 12 years of adverse possession of land by a wrongdoer not only bars the remedy of the original owner to recover possession, but also extinguishes his title and confers a good title upon the wrongdoer. So the wrongdoer, or the person who has encroached into the property and who has an adverse possession of 12 years over the property, then the right of repossession will be lost by virtue of the articles of the Limitation Act, and it does not merely extinguish his right, but extinguish his remedy, it will extinguish his right as such. And Section 27, it is said that it is an exception to the general principle that the Limitation Act bars only the remedy and not the right. Section 27 is an exception to the general rule. So a party who is claiming the possession must give evidence as with regard to his adverse possession over the property also. So that is with regard to the Limitation Act. So your module 5 is now over. Thank you.